we heard the screams in backstage, so that's the best.
That's a good thing, right? That's a good thing.
The most flattering thing. So
we hope.
I think it's safe to say we love the birthday.
Unless they were screaming because maybe they were like, "What the hell did we just watch?
What the hell? What the hell was that?
That was terrible." It could have been that, but we don't know.
Well, it might be my new favorite breakup movie.
You could definitely boil it down to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm eager to ask you many questions, and I'm sure our audience is as well. But I want to start with a question for both of you. I want to ask what it's like, to think about, to reflect on this movie today. Nearly 20 years since its premiere at Sitges. Do you, you caught a little bit of the end. Do you see new details in this film? Do you think about it differently than how you had in 2004?
We were discussing together during the dinner that this clearly has gone beyond ourselves and our expectations. I think that it's fair to say that The Birthday is one of those films. People talk about the magic of cinema, and the funny thing, me personally loving the craft of cinema, it's more like illusionism. It's more about tricks and techniques and stuff. But every now and then, it sounds corny, but it's true. It becomes magic. And in this case, I will say that in the case of The Birthday, it's more like witchcraft in the way that is what the hell. It has its own life. It's beyond ourselves. And what can I say? I see it as something that we've done together, but at the same time, something alien to ourselves. So I can say that almost 20 years after, I can see it and enjoy it as an audience member in a way that it's very, very disturbing. Corey, do you want to say anything about it?
Disturbing but fun, right? I mean, it's a fun sort of disturbing.
Disturbing can be fun.
Yes, it can be, and it is in the case of The Birthday. So what did you guys think? That's what we want to know.
Well, sure. Why don't we take some audience questions?
I mean, I suppose the fact that you're still in your seats is a good thing, right? We'll have to take it for that.
Yeah, so let's take some audience questions now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We really want to hear your thoughts, because don't forget, this is our sound. You're our sounding board. You're our first opportunity to know what American audiences think, because you're the first American audience who actually paid money to see this film. So we thank you for your patronage.
Thank you.
And we look forward to hearing your questions and your thoughts. So
if you have a question, raise your hand. There's a mic that will come to you.
This is going to be fun therapy for free.
There's a question right here, a hand. Yes.
Hello? Oh, I was just wondering what he does at the pizza shop.
He's a plumber. He's really good at cleaning the pipes. So he's back there a lot, underneath the sinks and the back of the toilets, and so you can understand why he's really excited to have a girlfriend.
By the way, there's this mention, maybe he's got this double job because he works in a pizzeria in Brooklyn, not New York, but Baltimore, right?
Right, well, that's what he was saying. He was saying, what does he do at the pizzeria?
Oh, sorry, I missed that part, sorry. I apologize.
He's the plumber at the pizza shop.
Sorry, my jet lag is
cleaning the pipes in the back of the...
Got it.
Yeah.
What I was thinking.
We'll be here all week. Not really, because you know why? Eugenio, my friend, has got to fly to LA tomorrow because he's nominated for a Critics' Choice Award for his new Best Foreign Film TV show on HBO.
Thank you, Corey.
Garcia.
Thank you very much. It's surreal to have these two moments of my life. I think that I feel like I'm in a funeral, And I take it. I'll take that. Most probably this is more exciting than my funeral eventually, so I'll take it.
I would hope so.
I'll keep it forever. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
What a somber way to look at it. Thank you.
More questions, please.
Did he return to the pizza parlor thing after?
They really like the pizza parlor. This is a really important part of the role.
20 years ago.
I had no idea.
And we figured out that was the thing that was going to stick in the mind of the audience members.
If we only knew, we probably would have, drawn more to the pizza.
Like Domino's Pizza, you're providing, releasing the movie.
Norman's an intriguing character. I mean, he's in every scene. Did this film start with this character?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
tell us.
it's his subjective perception what drives the movie. I mean, you see that elevator floating in darkness. You don't know you're in space in a dream. You don't know what it is. And the moment that those elevator doors open, we see the silhouette of Norman, and he steps towards us. And literally, the whole hotel, the Royal Fulton Hotel, materializes with every single step that he makes forward towards the camera. There's this dissolve thing. That was an idea that I had from the very beginning to make sure that we made the audience feel that we were going to be tethered to this character, we liked it or not. And nothing exists beyond his perception of what's going on. And from the very beginning, that's how we, we as audience members, we kind of are in the movie incarnated through his, performance, of course, Corey, and becoming Norman Forrester. That was the bet.
Corey, can you talk about reading the script, how you responded to it on the first read, and how you sort of developed this character, how you found this voice, how you found these tics that you see throughout the film?
He found me, I think, more than the other way around, to be honest, because when I read it, it was a peculiar situation. My manager calls me and he says, we've got this script and it's a brilliant script, and it's this young filmmaker who's recently won a bunch of awards at the short film festivals in Spain, and we'd love you to take a look at his reel, and we'd love you to see this. And so I read it, and it was like, immediately I realized that I couldn't stop turning the pages. It was just this dark humor, but like still really brilliant, really gripping and intelligent, and every page just drew me in closer. And the character Norman literally just spoke to me immediately. I immediately heard his voice. I immediately saw the mannerisms. I immediately saw Norman coming to life. And so much so that I told my manager, you know what, I want to do this. Like, I want to do it. And he was like, really? You mean they don't have much money? They want to fly you to Spain to work for basically nothing, and you're going to be there for like 3 months. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And it was because I felt the genius of this, passion of this movie. And so when I got to the location, of course we hit it off right away. As you can tell, we're good friends, and we had so much to talk about. It was so exciting. And then, he said, "Is it going to be great, man? I'm so excited to have you here. It's amazing, man.
I love his
I love the Goonies.
It's
The
amazing.
Goonies is amazing.
That's a great impersonation.
Unbelievable the way you do math, man. It's incredible. I got to say, I have to bring it all into fuck yous." And I said, "What?"
The focus,
I have to bring it into fuck yous.
Fuck yous, yeah.
I said, no, it's focus, buddy. It's focus. Oh, yeah, that one.
20 years ago, I didn't know to say focus. For a Spaniard, focus felt like fuck yous. So
it could
we
be
have to
a little
fuck yous.
offensive, until you understood what was going on. But
and yous are trickies for Spaniards.
yes.
Sorry.
So anyway, we got along right away. We were immediately friends. But he says, so tell me, what is the character? What's it going to be? And I was like, I don't really want to share that with you yet. And he's like, what do you mean? We just flew you out here. You got to show us. I said, no, I'm not 100%. There's some things I need to dial in, and I'm not 100% finished with all of it yet. But I promise you, at the read-through, Norman will be there, and it will be Norman. And he says, well, unfortunately, we can't have the read-through. And I said, what do you mean you can't have the read-through? We've been saving up for this moment, it's a big reveal. And he said, no, unfortunately, Erica Pryor, she couldn't make it. She's going to be late, and this person can't be there. And so bottom line is there's no read-through. Unless you want the read-through to be me and, my partner, and we'll read through it with you. And so it was like, okay, I guess we need to do that because, unfortunately, a lot of the English was broken, very broken English.
Yeah.
And so we had to sit there for about 3 days where I took every line and kind of retranslated from the broken translation that we had, and then also added a lot of pop culture references and things that put it into the time of where it was. Because unfortunately, he wanted to make this statement that it was an 80s thing. And I'm like, yeah, but if it's going to be an 80s thing, there's all these weird catchphrases and shit that people would say in the 80s that, we probably wouldn't remember now. But if you say them, people will remember them. And it would be great to throw that kind of stuff in there. So we started sprinkling all of that kind of lingo in there and the mannerisms and things like that. And then it wasn't until the first day on the set when Norman finally came to play. And so he had to put great faith in me as an actor that I did get the character, that I did understand what I was doing, and that it was going to work. And at first, what was your first reaction?
Well, the thing, my first reaction was, I think that we're going to have to modulate this thing along the whole thing. But it was like, remember that we said, and we had this, everything was very transparent between both of us. It was like saying, okay, the twitching and the scattering, we have to decide when that's going to be. You create dynamics on it, you know, because it's a very, if he went just in one gear for the same character across a whole movie where he's in every single shot, it will be very complicated. But at the same time, of course, he had an understanding of the story, and he knew that, no, don't worry. Of course, here I'm going to be like keeping it lower. And I think that I remember finding that kind of chart, the musical kind of dynamics of the character. And that's the only thing that I did as a director, to make sure that there was this continuity, because of course the movie takes place in real time, but we didn't shoot it left to right. So we had to, with the script, Adela Gutierrez, that she made an amazing work trying to keep the continuity of, you know, Norman and in her head, to make sure that it was matching. And most of the time we didn't have to say anything because he, of course, did the homework. But at the same time, that was my only concern, to make sure that the dynamics of the character were right at the spot in every moment, because the character is 100% what he did. I have to say that when he came up with the voice and the high pitch and that accent, and he told me, it's like, yeah, you know, can we talk about Al Pacino? And he talked to me about Dog Days Afternoon. So when you had him, and he's like, oh, now I understand. Keep in mind that for Spaniards, in my case, I love to watch films back in the day already like original version, not dubbed versions. But in Spain, it's very common not to get to the real thing. So the first time that I saw Dog Days Afternoon, years before, the birthday was dubbed to Spanish. So
you saw the Spanish actor doing Dog Day Afternoon.
I think that maybe
not actually Al Pacino.
Exactly, and that movie in particular, not The Godfather, for example, in English. But in Dog Days Afternoon, for some reason, I couldn't find it.
So I probably said to you, "Oh, I'm kind of modeling this a little bit after the character in Dog Day Afternoon."
And it was like, okay, and I had to check it out.
You're thinking of the Spanish translation guy going, "Oh no, that's not going to work at all."
For the record, I was 26-year-old, and so that's big. But look, I consider myself a millennial lost in space and time. But yes, I have to figure out how it was, and then I got it, and now I can make an impersonation of Norman if you allow me to do it.
Yes, please.
I just want to talk to you. I'm Allison. But it's the thing, you know, I got it's like, find a high pitch, I don't know. I get it, and it was like, okay, now we're safe. Al Pacino's a good reference after all, right?
Not a bad reference. But here's the thing. Every review that's ever come out has always said, Corey doing his best Jerry Lewis. And him and I look at each other like, what?
Like what?
Jerry Lewis? Where did that come from?
It's Al Pacino in Dog Days Afternoon.
It's Dog Day Afternoon.
It's
Dog Day Afternoon.
For sure.
No, but there is, you know, there's a lot of, I mean, obviously it's not a one-dimensional character. There's a lot of different flavors and aspects to his range, and certainly Pacino is one of them. Another people references Peter Sellers, and I think that is probably a little bit more on point with The Party, because there's a lot of, you know, in his mind he had that.
The environment, the hotel.
Right.
For sure.
So I think I might have watched bits of that for some homework. But, you know, I think that you know, the whole like, hey man, you know, that guy, that's very Pacino, you know, in Dog Day Afternoon, you know.
By the way, shout out to, when it comes to creating Norman on paper, before Corey was involved in the project, a big shout out to Mikel Alvareño, co-writer of the script. That was my partner, and we're still friends. And I had to tell, just to finish, I know there's a big question, but I promise that I will try to summarize it. We approached the script like this kind of gift of saying, okay, we only have these restraints in terms of the production and the financing. It has to happen in this hotel. It's going to be in real time. And from that point on, we started to be as bold and crazy and ambitious as we could. And among those things were how to build Norman as this kind of counterintuitive version of what Corey Feldman, the icon, sorry, not the guy that's standing next to me that I consider my friend, but got used to.
Image of Corey Feldman.
Yeah, but but if you take a look to you always were so confident when you were a kid from Goonies or License to Drive. You see him like smart and like an adult, like more mature than what the kid was.
Like an asshole.
Yeah, well, but a charming asshole, and somebody that we kids look up like, I want to be like that guy when I grow old. Right. So playing with that counterintuitively, like showing Norman like somebody that's introverted and nervous and all that was one of the motivations that we had from the very beginning. Because I have to say, in Mikkel's mind and myself, he was always the protagonist, I have to say. And so this is another level of dreams coming true. So today I'm celebrating that 20 years after. And I love you, Corey. It's amazing.
I love you too. Thank you so much, Eugenio. Listen, if this guy hadn't had the vision, if he didn't see it, if he didn't see this crazy dream of taking me out of me and putting me into Norman Forrester in the first place, right, then it wouldn't have happened. So he wrote it with that in mind. He had that vision of like, this is the only person who can play this role. He didn't expect what he got, the guy that ended up turning out. I don't think he expected so much, but I didn't. But in the and in the end, that was the only thing that worked. Because if you made Norman anything like me, it wouldn't have worked. He would have been too confident. He would have had too much stride in his step. I think it's it made it so relatable because he is every guy in a way, And the soundtrack, by the way, can I just say that he's responsible for all of that. This guy's a genius. Seriously.
Thank you so much. Again, I had to shut out because time goes by and I'm very specific about being fair with credits. I have to be very thankful to Fernando Velázquez. It's a composer that helped me with arrangements and all that. And I reached a level of interaction with him. It was my first time writing for orchestra, and I considered that it wasn't fair to sign with my name. So kind of going half and half. I
know, and in all fairness, he says this about the guy who helped compose, right?
Yeah.
But in all fairness, he also at one point told me that I was half the director of the film. Yeah. And this is how humble this man is, because it was all his concept. It was all his genius. He had the blueprints every day of what the schematics would be, of what the diagrams would be, what the room was going to look like, what our outfits were going to look like. Everything was literally hand drawn out ahead of time in the most professional way I've ever seen. He had, literally a blueprint of everything. So, and then I came in and I did what I do, but and obviously in no way would I consider a co-director credit, because it's your baby, it's your film, it's your genius, and I am so grateful that you have achieved what you have at such an early age to make such a brilliant film, and you deserve all the credit for it.
Holy shit! Thank you, Corey.
It's yours.
I don't agree entirely, but I love him, and it's, what can I say? I have to say that I wasn't this humble 20 years ago. I was kind of a brat, 26-year-old. I thought there was like the next Tarantino or something. So it makes sense to be. I feel
you are the next Tarantino.
No.
What are you talking about?
Could you guys?
It hasn't hit yet.
Could you guys recap what it was like premiering this film?
It's not gonna be easy, but let's try.
No, I'm curious. When you premiered this film in 2004 and you were shooting in festivals in 2005, how were people reacting to this film? What kind of questions were you getting? Do you think this movie was misunderstood back then?
I think people loved it right away. I mean, we never had an audience that didn't like it. Like I said, there would be people who maybe didn't understand it, but they were still entertained. They were still enjoying it. But people were pretty shocked when this didn't come out in the theaters. I mean, everybody was kind of like built up and excited and waiting for it. And then when it didn't happen, it was like, what happened? And we looked at each other and went, what happened?
I think that just to add some perspective, and it is something that I think that I ended up understanding with the passage of time. 2004, 2005 is this blind spot where social media wasn't there yet. And the only way to have a mention of a film, an independent film on film festivals, I remember that going to Q&As in Vancouver, in Cinemorte, and Fantastic Fest at the Alamo Drafthouse in 2005. And in the Q&A, I was begging people, and if you like this show, or if you like the movie, please write a review, because it was the only thing that you could do. And back in the day, if you got like 6 positive or enthusiastic reviews, one in Any Cool News that we had. Or
Joe Blow. We were
Joe
really
Blow,
excited when Joe Blow did a review, and
all those sites
positive.
make the difference. And then you go to 2006, 2007. And imagine it's like the movie didn't get to that area where people could be like mirroring their experience and finding kind of a community. And it's all that a film like this needed.
Right.
It couldn't happen.
It never had the opportunity to get the cult following it deserved, because it wasn't out in mainstream, cinemas. It wasn't even on DVD. It wasn't on pay-per-view. There was no way to get people excited about it. So you'd get a little bubble of excitement, and then it would dissipate. And then you'd get another bubble, and it would dissipate. But in Europe, people were going nuts for it, But you guys didn't see that.
Another thing that we have to say, and not going full name dropping style, but it's true that, and this is one of my biggest satisfactions. I always say that when I was, a teenager, and always look for inspiration to the directors that I love. But with the pass of time, and we can talk about that because we had validation by directors that we admire that happen to have connected with the birthday. And again, it's not that I'm going to come here saying the names, but they will blow your mind. The one that we can mention, because it's public, and it's the one we're thanking for having
Jordan Peele, of course.
Jordan Peele himself.
Yes.
That, you can tell that side of the story.
Well, I think Eugenio is a modest man, but the truth of the matter is he was very wise as a young director and had a lot of ambition. And so he went out and he sent copies of The Birthday to every major filmmaker at the time, from Oliver Stone to Quentin Tarantino to, Donner. I sent it to Donner.
He sent it to Richard Donner. What about that? Okay, it's been great. Thank you very much. Bye.
So they all loved it. Every single one of them gave us like these incredible reviews and was just like, "Oh my God, this film is brilliant. It's brilliant. You're brilliant. His direction, blah blah blah." They're not going to release it. It's not their movie, but they enjoyed it. And I remember I was just telling him with Oliver Stone, the experience with Oliver Stone, because I ran into him in a parking lot, and I said, "Hey, you saw my film, The Birthday, right? What'd you think?" And he's like, "Yeah, I didn't like it." I was like, "Okay, fair enough." And he's like, "I mean, you were great. You did a great job." I said, "Thank you." And he goes, and the whole thing was really, really well done. I said, "Thanks." And he goes, "It just wasn't for me." I understand. I mean, it's not for everybody.
That's a true story that I remember tonight. I forgot about it, and he told me, and it's like, damn.
But by the same coin, on the same flip of a coin, I also got a call out of nowhere at home from Guillermo del Toro, who called me up flipping out, saying, "This is brilliant, man. This performance is incredible. You are unbelievable. I mean, wow. You better win the freaking award for this one."
I'm going to say something that Guillermo introduced the film in 2006. It was a film festival in Madrid, and he was there like curating and showing up with a microphone, and people were going nuts. And this is the thing that I can say because it's public and there's a lot of witnesses. When he introduced the film, he said something along the lines of something like, if this movie would, I'm not going to try and impersonate him, but if this movie was directed by a South Korean director, you will be jerking off out your seats. and he, as a Mexican, was making a point about how Spaniards, having this European thing of cynicism, are not into valuing something that is made from there. Jaded. And he was like saying, you should be ashamed for being Spaniards. Because you don't value what you have here. This kid made an amazing movie. He went into...
You don't appreciate your own
exactly.
kin.
He went into this kind of rant that is the sweetest thing ever. So thank you, Guillermo. I love you so much for that.
Yes.
It meant a lot in 2006.
We're running a little short on time, so I want
to
open it back up to the
Any
audience.
other questions? There's a guy over there. He's been raising his hand for a while.
Thank you for the film. Loved it. I think, should I consider it as a spoof on many varieties horror films? Because I remember seeing this somewhere. I've seen this scene by a man with the axe,
Well, I think that one of the layers of the aesthetics and the semantics of the film, of course, it has. I wouldn't say parody. I would say satire in a way, because there's a lot of social satire, and like this guy working in a pizzeria that is with this girl. We thought a lot about that. It's like in movies like in the 80s, like Jesus, this one with Patrick Dempsey. No, I want to be the Beatles.
Can't
song.
Buy Me Love. Can't Buy Me Love, yeah.
Can't Buy Me Love. There's like the nerd guy ends up with a blonde girl, but there's this kind of disenchantment that he didn't want, but blah, blah, blah. Okay, what happens with the nerd guy ends up with a blonde girl in the high school, and she's the posh girl, blah, blah, blah. This is like the sequel to that. I always said that, to me, The Birthday, one of the ideas was to create an anti-nostalgia film about the 80s. And that's rare in 2004. Imagine, we live in a world with, we're heading to a 4th or 5th season of Stranger Things. That I like to call that show Familiar Things, because I've seen everything. I know it, believe me, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And in 2004, when we made The Birthday, we were already making a comment in the about the 80s. So when you say spoof, I would say satire, a little bit of cynicism, a little bit of twist, black humor. I call it Amblin entertainment with cancer at the same time.
Oh my God.
That's what we wanted to do back in the day, because we were these, brats that self-entitled, whatever, and we thought that we were so cool for doing this thing, And yes, I look back and to me, I'm terrified about how the future became so conservative and, reactionary when it comes to fiction and celebratory of what we already know, and how in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was all these directors trying to do something different, and I don't know. That's my answer.
Can we get that lady in the back? She looks really serious.
Sure, she'll be the last question,
All right.
lady in the back.
Needless to say that we will be here for hours, as you can imagine.
Is there going to be a second of The Birthday?
Aren't you cute? Well, we would love to, but first we got to make this one a success. Usually helps, But the first thing that needs to happen is we need to get a theatrical release of The Birthday. And you guys making this a sold-out performance tonight gives us hope that may one day be possible. So thank you all for coming. It's really super cool that you all attended tonight. Thanks for buying tickets. Thanks for selling out this showing. And we have another full house after, and I hope you guys all go out there and, like he said, write your reviews on the IMDb page, or put a Yelp review,
Or make an 8-hour-long Twitch, for
Right.
2023.
Or just go on my damn Twitter and just be like, The Birthday rocked, it needs to be released. Come on, Jordan Peele, make it happen.
Thank you very much.
I'm just joking, Jordan. I love you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.